Hello, this is Joe Pryor, the virtual real estate team in Oklahoma, where we specialize in residential investment properties in the Oklahoma City and the Tulsa markets. If you're listening to these videos that I do and you're interested in investing with us, the next question would be, how do we get together? How do we start this process? And what I would answer very simply is a Zoom meeting. Now, we've been doing Zoom meetings even 2 years before the pandemic, but boy, the pandemic really got that going. In fact, I know I've done over 1,000 Zoom meetings with investors. Sometimes it may take 5 Zoom meetings before I actually get to the point where we're confident in terms of what we're doing and we go ahead and do a contract. But this is the request that I would make for you. Now, people are not visiting Oklahoma City and Tulsa like they used to. When I started with out-of-state investors in 2004, I had a lot of visitations. COVID kind of changed all that. And of course, we have a lot more sophistication in the market right now in terms of the investors as a rule that we're dealing with. And it's all based on numbers. And there are ways that we can show you with videos, with drone pictures, with data, with all sorts of things about why you should invest in a particular property, mainly because this is a metric-based situation. There's a lot of emotion that's not in there, but what we really need to do is connect in the first place to get to this data, to get to those numbers. And so having a Zoom meeting, you're seeing me just like in a Zoom meeting, I'm seeing you. And it also gives us the opportunity that you can't do on a phone, which is to share things. So in other words, I can say, look, let me show you this spreadsheet that I've done on this particular property, or let me show you this data that I've got, or let me show you this return on investment that I have. It allows us to get to a lot more things very, very quickly and more accurately, and so you gain more information, more education, especially if you're a first-time investor. So the first thing that we really want to do is find out more about each other and also try to create a plan that really fits the two of us. In other words, I want to make sure that that plan is something that's really going to build wealth for you and allows you to sleep at nights at the same time. I don't want you to be worrying about this. I want it to be passive income. And so we're going to be discussing a lot of things. We're going to get a little personal. I'm going to ask some questions because I really need to know financially what makes sense to you. I need to know your tolerance for risk. Now, I don't have a high tolerance for risk, but I don't want you to have one either. I want it to be as low risk as possible. But that is the way that we get started, is to have a Zoom meeting. And then at that point, the next thing that we'll do is we will send you some information that'll give you a little bit more. We'll give you every piece of inventory that we've got in the Oklahoma City and Tulsa markets, economic and demographic information, whatever it needs to be to really help you out, videos of the houses you might be wanting to buy so you can see what the builders do. So this is the way that we get started. And then possibly you say, well, this really helps me a lot, but can I have another Zoom meeting? And we'll say yes. So very simply, at the end of this description about this video, you're going to see Joan at VREteam.com. She is our operations manager. And what she's going to do is she's going to set up a time that's convenient for the both of us. We can spend 30 minutes typically together on that first meeting, create that plan. I love doing this. We get to see each other. We get to share data. This is the way that we're going to get going. So let me know if that's of interest to you. Email Joan. We'll have a Zoom meeting and see if we can meet each other's needs.